Hello everybody, welcome. Thank you for checking out the video. Today, we're going to be talking about my experience with magiccon Las Vegas and some quick tips to help you in the future if you were to attend a magiccon. Now, I ended up staying at a place called Mardi Gras Hotel and Casino, which was very close to the actual con itself, but it was not very premium at all. It was basically just a place to sleep. It was decently clean overall, but the place was pretty old and run down. So if you needed somewhere cheap to stay and you don't really care about a premium feel, the Mardi Gras Hotel and Casino is the perfect place for you. Just be wary of the restaurant as well that is in the lobby. It was kind of hit or miss for my brother and I. The one day, it was kind of slow service, but we did end up getting our food and the food tasted very good, but we tried hitting it up the next day. The waiter gave us our drinks, and then he kind of just forgot about us for like 30 minutes. And I didn't want to waste any more time because we're missing out on the convention. So we ended up going to a different spot. So just be wary of the restaurant. And then the restaurant lobby area, along with where you can gamble, kind of smells like cigar smoke as well. So if that bothers you, then just note that too. For the first day of the convention, my brother and I ended up arriving around 8:20. And from there was a huge line outside of the convention. They don't let people in until 8:30. So we waited outside for a little bit, and then as the line started to trickle in, we ended up hitting up the ticketed merch booth. So my brother and I ended up getting the premium weekend badge, and with that badge, it included a playmat, a deck box and sleeves, 3 Final Fantasy Collector's booster packs, 2 Avacyn Pilgrims promos, and a Yoshimaru promo that was in the style of Final Fantasy. I would say overall with our premium weekend badge, it was highly worth getting that badge because the collector's boosters, they're skyrocketing in price. So just the collector's boosters alone kind of paid for the badge itself. So after we ended up getting the ticketed merch, we headed straight for the morning queue, and we waited in there for roughly about an hour or so till the actual con opened up to the general public. Now, I do know if you do have a Black Lotus VIP badge, you can't get in early, so we saw some people kind of roaming around while we were in line, but overall, it was worth just waiting in the queue and not having to pay that extra upcharge for that. But once the morning queue began to trickle into the convention, we headed straight for the merch line. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the official merch line is make sure you know exactly where it's at in the convention. My brother and I accidentally headed towards the other side of the convention hall on the second floor, and it kind of wasted a little bit of time, which was crucial because once we actually found the merch line, we were barely able to get in before they capped off that line and stopped other people from getting in that line because it was getting really big. The merch line overall ended up taking us about 3 hours to get through, which was definitely not worth it. I thought it would move a little bit quicker, but it was just kind of a line that kept snaking back and forth. So it was very deceiving because it looked like you were close, but then you had to keep weaving back and through. And it wasn't necessarily worth the wait because a lot of the stuff that we wanted probably still would have been there later on throughout the convention. But if you're interested in like a festival in a box that ends up going very quickly, I would highly recommend getting to the convention and heading straight to that merch store because then you're for sure able to get that festival in a box. But after we got done with the official merch store, we headed over to Creator Central, and I'll be honest, Creator Central is one of the most favorite parts of the convention for myself. It was really cool because you don't even have to know the creators that were there. They just kind of are set up, and my brother and I ended up hitting up some of the creators that didn't have much of a line, so it was very easy to get up, talk to these people, and they had a lot of cool free stuff like stickers, magnets, tokens. It was really cool and interesting to see these creators and how passionate they are about what they do, but in addition get some free stuff too. After Creator Central, we decided to hit up lunch, so we got lunch really quick, and then we headed back, and we wanted to make sure that we got a good enough seat for Game Nights Live, so we ended up going to the panel that was there before. I think they were talking about Final Fantasy, so it was cool to get to see the end of that, watch them talk about that, but it helped us get a better seat for Game Nights Live. Now, I will note for Game Nights Live, just be wary because they don't let just anybody go in and sit and kind of try to claim seats. They kind of block off like certain sections for Black Lotus VIPs, and then 10 minutes before the actual show, they let everybody trickle in. So what was really cool is my brother and I ended up getting a real cool seat. We were like 3 rows back from the actual stage itself, which was really nice. And overall, Game Nights Live was really cool, really immersive. If you're able to make it to a Game Nights Live during a Magic convention, I would highly recommend seeing that, because it was just really cool getting to see those creators in person. And you know, we ended up getting to see Jimmy, we ended up getting to see the Professor, we ended up getting to see Josh, and then Voxy as well. So it was really cool getting to see those creators interact with one another, and they do give out a whole bunch of free stuff too. My brother and I ended up getting a couple play booster packs. We got a foam finger, we each got a flag to cheer on our own little team that they kind of grouped us in. We got a Game Nights pin, so there's a bunch of free stuff as well, but make sure you're able to get into one of those first rows, because that way you have a better chance at getting those free items. Once Game Nights Live was over, we decided to hit up Artist Alley, and this was really cool getting to meet some of the artists, seeing how passionate they are about their art, and then having them sign a couple cards as well. So I ended up getting a few cards signed, and it was really cool doing it towards the end of whenever the second floor would close, because the lines weren't really very long. So I was able to get a couple signatures there. And then after we got done with the signatures, we ended up getting a couple Commander games in to end off the night, because just note that the show floor usually closes around like 7 o'clock, but the actual convention hall is open till midnight. So from like 7 till midnight, that's a perfect time to start playing games, because not a whole lot of other stuff is open, other than there are some late open vendors, so you can check out some of the cards there. But overall, a lot of the convention is closed off, so that's a perfect time to play some games. Now, to start off day 2, we tried getting to the convention hall around like 8:20ish again. We wanted to get there early because they do have wristband meet and greets, so these were only on days 2 and 3 of the convention. So we ended up getting into the convention hall, and then they capped off the line for the wristbands for the meet and greets. So this was only for certain content creators, such as the cast of Game Nights and the Professor as well. So sadly, we didn't get that opportunity, so we just ended up using that time. We ended up leaving the convention and grabbing breakfast, and then we ended up going back to the convention at 10 a.m. whenever the morning queue would trickle in. Once we got into the convention hall on day 2, we ended up hitting up Artist Alley in the morning, trying to get some more signatures. Now, some of the lines were a little bit longer, because I think a lot of other people had that similar idea of hitting the artists up, trying to get those signatures, but I did end up getting a few. And then after we got those signatures, we ended up going to Creator Central, meeting some new content creators, getting some stickers, that sort of thing. Like I said, that was one of my favorite parts of this trip, was Creator Central. Next, we ended up going to the first floor and seeing some of the vendors down there. It was really cool getting to see some of the very rare cards that you don't normally get to see. Like, there was a whole bunch of like different vendors with Black Lotuses and a whole bunch of rare cards. It's not uncommon to see a full like case full of like $500 plus cards in there. So it was very cool getting to see those cards. In addition to that, I ended up buying a couple cards as well. So it's really cool to get to experience that, because pretty much any card that you would want is probably there. So I'd highly recommend, if you're looking for certain cards, come with a list of cards that you know for sure you're looking for. That way it can help make your search very easy, and you can kind of quickly look at a vendor, and a lot of the times they have those cards in alphabetical order, so just search for the letter of the card you're looking for, see if they have it. If not, go to a different vendor, because there's a whole bunch of vendors there. In addition to that though, there aren't just card vendors, there are whole tons of accessory vendors. I ended up getting a cool Black Lotus pin and lanyard, so it was really cool getting to see some of the other accessories that were being sold with the cards. So once we got done shopping, we ended up grabbing lunch really quick, and then we headed back real quick to the convention, because I was worried we weren't going to make the Ultra Pro deck box decorating. So what's really cool is that Ultra Pro gives out free deck boxes during this event, and you're able to customize the deck box. There was a whole bunch of markers on the tables, there were some stickers, so I ended up using a couple stickers because I'm not the best drawer myself, but it was really cool getting a free deck box and getting to experience that. After deck box decorating, we got to see the arcade, and the arcade was really cool because everything was free. A lot of the times in arcades you have to put money in, but this arcade was really cool because all you did was press a button to start the game and it would start. So my brother and I got to shoot some basketballs, we got to play some pinball, There's a whole bunch of different other things there too we didn't get a chance to experience, but it was really cool getting to see the free arcade as well. Our next main event we wanted to hit up was the cosplay contest, but before that we had a little bit of time, so we got a few Commander games in, and it was really cool getting to meet some of these, the players of Commander, and it was cool to see how the new bracket system was being implemented at MagicCon. In all reality, I'm very worried about how the bracket system is going to work in the long scheme of things, but I think overall at the convention it was really cool how it worked. So they basically had what I like to call a matchmaker table. So you go over to this table, there are some workers there that ask you what kind of power level you're playing at. So we just told them we like to play at bracket 3, and then they would find a match for you of other people that are willing to play in that same bracket system. One thing that I will note though is that during peak times, whenever people are playing, a lot of people are playing, the table scarcity is real. There's not a whole lot of tables there to play on, so we ended up having to go upstairs and finding a different play space. But if you're willing to maneuver around, you will end up finding a table. We didn't have trouble after that. Now the cosplay contest was really cool to see as well. I've seen pictures of it on social media before, but actually experiencing it in real life was really awesome to see. Just the passion and the creativity that some of these people have is insane. A lot of these cosplay costumes they're making themselves, which is really cool to see. And overall, it was a really awesome experience to see these cards in real life. Once the cosplay contest was over, we ended up getting a couple more Commander games in, and then we decided we wanted to experience the city a little bit. So we ended up going to Fremont Street and the Strip, and overall, I guess my opinion on both of those is, for one, if you are going to MagicCon in a big city, I highly recommend experiencing the city itself too, because it does have a lot more to offer than just a convention. But Fremont Street, in my opinion, I didn't particularly care for it just because it was really crowded whenever my brother and I decided to go. They were having a Robin Thicke concert and the concert was free, so it was very packed, very hard to get through the crowd, and there wasn't really much going on. I mean, you could go out and like buy drinks and that sort of thing, but other than that, other than gambling and drinking, there really wasn't much else to do. Now, the Strip itself was very cool to see. I will admit it was cool going in through the casinos. It was cool getting to see some of the sights there. But in my opinion, it's just one of those things that it's like a one and done thing. After we got done with the Strip that night, we ended up not hitting it after that just because, you know, that sort of lifestyle doesn't appeal to myself. But it was very cool to get to see the shiny lights, that sort of thing. Now on day 3, we were starting to get a little bit tired out, that sort of thing, just because the convention does take a toll on you overall. But we decided to sleep in a little bit, skip the wristbands, because we figured, I was asking some other content creators whenever they had to get in line to get a wristband, they were telling me like 7 a.m., earlier than 7 a.m. So we figured we'd take a little bit of a breather, just chill out. I mean, there wasn't anybody in particular that we wanted to wait that long for, because you figured you'd have to wait in line for the wristband itself, and then you'd have to wait in line in the morning queue, or you'd have to find something else to do, and then you'd also have to wait in line for that wristband meet and greet as well. So just a lot of line waiting for those. So we decided to sleep in on day 3, get a little bit late of a start, which was really cool because then we could just kind of head right into the convention without having to wait. Once we got in on day 3, we decided to hit up Creator Central again, and it was really cool because the content creators that were there, they ended up having a little bit of better goodies to give out, I would say. My brother and I ended up getting 2 play boosters each, along with each getting a pack of Dragon Shield sleeves as well. So it was really cool loot that we ended up getting there. And like I said, all you gotta do is go up to these creators, talk to them. You don't even have to know who they are, but it's really cool getting to hear their passion and end up getting some free stuff as well. Now, after Creator Central, we ended up grabbing some lunch, and then we went to the Pro Tour watch party. So they had this on the big stage where they had the cosplay contest and game nights live, and we got to see commentary and videos of the Pro Tour actually happening, which was really cool. And I guess the main reason why my brother and I decided to hit up this event was because they kept advertising they were going to give out a whole lot of free stuff. Now, I do want to note as well, for this free stuff, it was very limited, I would say. We ended up getting some pretty good seats because I was like, oh, a whole bunch of free stuff I might end up getting. But the commentators, they ended up making sure that everybody went home with something. So just note that, like, once you get your item, if that's the only reason you're there, I'd highly recommend finding maybe something else to do. But it was real cool because him and I both got a collector's booster pack, along with, they threw out this huge foam dice, so he ended up catching it and we went home with that as well. Now, it was really sweet because as we were leaving the Pro Tour watch party, we ended up passing the wristband meet and greet section, and I look over and I see Josh and Jimmy packing up from game nights, and I was like, ooh, let's see if we can get a picture potentially. So I didn't even tell my brother, I just started booking over there. He ended up following me, and we ended up catching them real quick. We each got a selfie, which was really cool because that's all I really wanted to do with the wristband meet and greet, was just get a picture with them, just to say I've met them before. But that was a really cool impromptu experience, getting to see them. Now on Sunday, the convention closes at 6, and there isn't like any extended play hours until midnight. So to close out the day, we pretty much just checked out some vendors. I ended up getting a couple more cards as well, but it kind of was a nice, easy closeout to the convention. Now, overall, my thoughts for this trip was it was a very cool experience. It was definitely worth the planning. Now, it does take a lot of planning and preparation for it, but overall, it was really cool getting to experience going to a place where there's a whole bunch of other people that enjoy the same thing as you. Because to be honest, you're never going to be in another spot where there are 20,000 plus Magic players that you can literally go up to them, talk about Magic, and it's really cool getting to experience that because they pretty much know the exact same stuff as you, so you have a lot of stuff in common to talk about. It was really awesome to see that. All right, and then finally, one more thing that I want to share with you guys is just some tips that I have for you for if you're attending a magiccon in the future. All right, so tip number 1 is going to be research the place that you are staying at. So as I said before in the video, the Mardi Gras Hotel and Casino, it was a decent spot for my brother and I to stay, but it was kind of on the outskirts of that sketchy area of Las Vegas. If you went any further, I think it was south, then you would have hit some pretty rough areas. So just note the area that you're staying in, and you know, like I said, do a little bit more research just to make sure it's exactly what you want. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you bring a water bottle. What's nice is throughout the convention hall, there are a whole bunch of water filling stations, so it's very easily accessible to fill up your water bottle if you're running low. But just note that especially in Las Vegas, you have that dry heat, so you may not notice that you're losing water, but you are losing water very quickly. So I'd highly recommend bringing a water bottle. That way too, you don't have to purchase water, because sometimes that can get kind of expensive as well. So please make sure you're bringing water and staying hydrated at a magiccon. Tip number 3 is to make sure that you only bring a few decks. Now, I know a lot of Commander players have a whole bunch of decks. I probably have roughly around like 30 decks or so currently. But if I were to bring all those decks and lug those around, that's a lot of weight that I have to carry on my back. So I only ended up bringing 4 decks, but even then, I only ended up playing 3 because one of my commanders, Pantlaza, was played a whole ton throughout the convention. So I wanted to play unique decks, decks that people haven't necessarily seen before. So you do not need to bring a whole bunch of decks. I'd recommend maybe 4 max, all right? If you can bring less than that though, that's just less weight that you're gonna have to carry around. Tip number 4 is to use your hotel as a home base. So what I mean by that is just make sure you're keeping anything that you don't need for the day at your hotel. So any packs that you've cracked in the day previously, any decks that you don't plan to play, any merch that you've gotten that you don't plan to use, I'd highly recommend putting that in your hotel room. That way you don't have to carry it around, because you don't realize it, but you are going to be carrying around that weight for a long time. So it's important that you're carrying just the essentials. That way you're not carrying unnecessary weight. Tip number 5, and this is dependent upon the badge that you end up getting, but if you don't get a badge that includes a deck box, please bring a spare deck box. You will be receiving some free packs, or you will be buying some packs. So it's going to be super important that you have a safe spot to keep those. Either you can keep the packs there or keep the cards that you've cracked open in the packs in a safe place. Tip number 6 is dependent upon the badge that you have as well. You probably do not need to bring a playmat. Even if you do not have a badge that includes a free playmat, then you're probably going to end up purchasing one either from Ultra Pro or from one of the other vendors that are in the convention. So there is no need to waste space bringing a playmat that you'll end up not using because you end up getting one at the convention. Tip number 7, in regards to flying, please make sure that you're keeping your decks in your carry-on. That way you can ensure that they are with you at all times and that they're potentially not going to get lost. I'll be honest with you, at some airlines you got to be careful with checked-in luggage because there's a potential chance that luggage gets lost. But if you're bringing a carry-on, that bag is with you. You can ensure that it ends up making to MagicCon safely and that nothing ends up happening to it as well. Tip number 8 is that you don't need to be at MagicCon right at 8:30 if there is nothing important that you really want to see. So basically what happens is each day the convention hall, the morning queue opens up at 8:30, but from there you're just pretty much waiting in lines. They have all these huge lines and they end up letting them in eventually at 10 a.m. Each one goes in and files in. But if there's nothing that you really want to hit up for that day, nothing like, you know, really important, then you can show up 10 a.m. even slightly a little bit later. That way the morning queue's kind of filed out and you can head right into the convention. It'll save you some time if you want to go sleep or grab breakfast or whatever, but I'd highly recommend not hitting the morning queue up unless there's something important that you want to go see or do. Tip number 9 for you is to make sure that you wear comfortable shoes. You're going to be on your feet throughout a lot of the day, and you're going to be doing a lot of walking as well. You're going to be putting on a lot of steps. So it's going to be very important that you bring a nice comfortable pair of shoes. That way your feet stay comfortable and you can walk around the convention and end up seeing a lot more. Tip number 10 is definitely one of the most important tips. You want to make sure that you have fun and meet lots of people. As I said before, this is a place where everybody at least has one thing in common. You guys all love Magic the Gathering. So make sure you take advantage of that, play lots of games, have some fun conversations, make some new connections. Thank you so much for watching about my experience with MagicCon and some of the tips that I have to share for you. Please like, subscribe, comment. That way we can get this channel to grow. And then in addition to that, if you have any experiences that you'd like to share with MagicCons that maybe you've attended in the past, or if you have any questions about a future MagicCon, please add those in the comment section and I'll respond to those as well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your attention.